So I know that this video already looks a lot different than what you're used to seeing on this channel. After all, you've primarily been seeing this idiot make a fool of himself making cheap, low-budget horror movies, and in one case a sci-fi comedy. But with one of those films crossing the 7,000 view mark, I just wanted to take some time and just say, one, thank you so much to everybody who checked out Switch. In all of my years of being on this earth, I never thought something I would make would be seen 7,000 times, let alone something I made on a whim in an afternoon. Second, I feel like we don't really know each other quite yet, and I just thought I'd make this video to introduce myself and give you a little behind the scenes look at making the first short film I put up on YouTube, Switch. But before we even get there, I'd like to give a little bit of context as to why I made Switch in the first place. So, hi, my name is Max. And how did we get here? It's 2019. Your boy just graduated college with a degree in mass media from Valdosta State University, go Blazers. I'd made a couple of student films that were received very well, I had won some awards, had a dope internship, and I had a little bit of an inflated ego from this. After taking some time to relax and travel after graduation, I started throwing out applications. I was primarily looking in Atlanta, Jacksonville, and Tallahassee. Now, I had this idea that I would get a job at a company doing videography and do the filmmaking thing on the side, a way to build up my craft while still getting a solid income under my belt. And after over 100 job applications, I finally got an offer. And the location? Thomasville, Georgia. For those of you unaware, Thomasville is a town about 45 minutes north of Tallahassee, and it is not a big city. But I figured this would be good for me. I still had friends in the nearby Valdosta that I could collaborate with, and after about 3 months of working down there, I finally started work on my first true independent short film outside of work or school. I mean, this is great. Stop spitting. But as these things go, it just fell apart with everyone working day jobs, having different opinions, and other reasons just outside of anybody's control. The project just fell through. Okay, it's not a problem. You know, you just gotta pull yourself up by the bootstraps and just move on to the next project. Now, I'd be beating a dead horse by saying that March of 2020 was an uncertain time for us all. The world seemed to be ending. We didn't know what the next day would hold. Tiger King was a thing. But for me, I was switching jobs during this time. To a high school sports media company, no less. Now, in hindsight, thinking about this decision, Jesus Christ, what was I thinking? To say that I am grateful that things worked out is an understatement, but at the time it was absolutely terrifying. So, to distract myself from the world falling around me, I decided to go back to my roots. Switch was shot in mid to late March of 2020 and was uploaded in early April. This was shot in my trashy, one-bedroom shotgun apartment in Thomasville, Georgia that didn't have centralized AC. Not pertinent to the film, I just felt the need to share. And I shot this completely by myself, which means I would set up my shot, light the scene, get into position, and just pray that I stayed in frame and didn't go out of focus. It took a good bit of trial and error to get certain shots, but without an in-place deadline, I had all the time in the world, and it really saved me some stress. I shot this on my Canon 80D. It's a solid camera that's good enough for a beginner starting out on YouTube. No 4K though, which is a problem. I've since upgraded to the Sony a7 IV. Sound was recorded on my Zoom H4n Pro. I didn't have a good mic setup, and since this was the only one on set, I just used the microphone built into the Zoom and placed it just off camera. I used these shitty little battery-powered LED lights I got off Amazon. I got 2 of them for like $80, and one of them actually broke when I was filming. So whenever I needed extra lights, I just used this lamp. It's rinky-dink, but this isn't a big budget movie. This is just some guy with a camera in a free afternoon. Oh, but I also had a Ronin S. About the fanciest thing I had was a Ronin S. Now, I freaking love this thing. gimbals are a godsend, and I used it on these shots. I would put the camera on the gimbal, turn the gimbal to selfie mode, and then just not show my arms. It made for some steadier POV shots and snore cam shots, kind of like in Requiem for a Dream. I edited Switch in DaVinci Resolve. Why? Because it's free and I was broke. It's got a really nice color correction setup, and I originally thought I wouldn't like a node-based editing software coming from doing my work in Premiere, but once I got used to it, I gotta say, it's turned into my preferred workflow when color correcting. I didn't need to do much audio editing other than creating the ambiance. For this shot, I put the camera and tripod in my shower. I shot the over the shoulder and then moved over to be the hand. Now there is a story about how I got this grungy, dirty look with the hand. You see, I had done this effect before with charcoal where myself and some friends covered our hands in charcoal to give them a dusty, otherworldly look, especially when the skin was showing through underneath. So I thought I'd do that effect for this film as well. Again, keep in mind, this was shot during the height of uncertainty during March of 2020, and I did not want to be around too many people. But I needed charcoal. I went to the Publix across the street from my apartment with a mission: get the charcoal, get out. I masked up, ran in, got the closest bag of charcoal I could find, and I got out. I got on my back porch and just covered my hand in charcoal, and then I went back inside and I shot the scene. This was the last shot of the day. So I did the over the shoulder, got in place for the demonic hand, and then called it a day. Now, I did not know this, but apparently the charcoal I had gotten was pre-covered in lighter fluid, meaning I was huffing fumes in my tiny ass bathroom from the charcoal that was coming off of my arm. Man, I really should have thought about that. I'm an idiot. But anyway, I created a mask, highlighted what skin showed through, just dropped the saturation, sped it up a little bit, and then boom, demon hands. Making this project taught me a lot about myself and filmmaking, and I just thought I would share some of those lessons with y'all, and maybe y'all can get something from this. There is literally no excuse not to be making things. See, up until that point in my life, I had always said, well, I'm gonna make a film until the next X, Y, or Z thing comes out, when in actuality, all I needed to do was just take what I had and just make something. It really helped not having a grade in place for this, and it was just a project of passion. Get creative with the tools you have and don't have. Maybe you don't have access to any lights. You can use these lamps that you have lying around, or maybe you have these lights but you need a way to bounce the light. Okay, you can go out and get a piece of styrofoam. Maybe you need a microphone but you don't have one, so what you do is you take your phone to record the sound, or maybe you're already using your phone to record the video, so instead you go online, you find free sound effects to use to create a soundscape. Guys, there are literally hundreds of workarounds to any problems you might face. Get creative and find them. Don't expect to make something perfect. Maybe there are people out there that can create an absolutely perfect project by themselves. Me personally, I haven't met anyone that can, but just know that there are limitations when you are both the person in front of and behind the camera, and just work with those limitations. If there aren't limitations, there isn't gonna be art. With the limited story of Switch, I sought out what story could I tell in just my shitty one-bedroom apartment. And then one day I went to turn the light on in my bathroom and I accidentally turned on the fan, and then I got an idea. Guys, thank you so much for checking this video out. I greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to see more content like this, comment below and let me know. I plan on doing a lot more with this channel in the coming months, so just be on the lookout for that. What's upcoming this year? I got a script that is in the works that actually features dialogue, so please be on the lookout for that, guys. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, guys, be sure to go check out my podcast, Messed Up at Midnight, where myself and my co-host Michael Flaherty drink our way through the movies of yesteryear and try to answer the question, if this movie were a drink, what would it be and why? Here's a clip from our most recent episode.
This soundtrack fucking slaps.
Okay, all right. Back up, Kyle.
Hey, listen. You have 6 Smash Mouth songs in this movie. And this movie is a stereotypical kids movies in like the mid 2000s. It has 6 Smash Mouth songs. It's got superheroes. It's got a fat kid. Like, what more could you need from a kid?
You always have to have a goofy fat kid to be the punchline in every movie from every movie. Okay, every movie released between like 1997 and like 2007 all have a similar look and sound and feel to them. Like, I don't know why, but my roommate pointed it out and I can't get it out of my head.
So that's it for this time, guys. Once again, I've been Max. I'll talk to y'all soon.